Before we begin modeling, let's take a look at the reference images that we're going to use for the project. When you download the resource files, you're going to have a reference images folder here, and this is just a collection of things I've found on the internet, just images of the Oshkosh MATV in various angles. And there are even a couple of pictures in here that are of scale models. Yeah, here's one. Kind of like toys of the vehicle as well. And my purpose for these is just to get another angle on it. So I tried to find as many different angles as I could. Some of them have accessories on them like this sign and this down here and the chain that I'm not going to worry about for this project. But generally speaking, it gives us a pretty good collection of angles that we can use as we're modeling different parts of the vehicle. In addition, I've also downloaded this collection of orthographic views from a website called theblueprints.com. Let's take a look at that. Here at theblueprints.com, you can see that it's just a website full of blueprints, orthographic views, drawings of all kinds of things. Everything from cars and motorcycles to iPhones and helicopters and everything else. So what I've done is I've just typed in Oshkosh M-ATV, and I've chosen this one that says MRAP. And this is the image that I've downloaded. Now, it was free. I just had to create an account, and then you can download any free image you like. There are higher resolution images that you can pay for, of course, but for this project, we didn't need anything more than this. So once I downloaded these, what I did is I went into Krita, which is a 2D paint program, very much like Photoshop or Corel or GIMP, and you can download it at krita.org. So if we go to Krita, you can see all I've done is I've cut these images out. Here, let me turn off the background here. I've cut these images out from the main image. Here's the top view and the front and the back. So I've cut each of these out and put them on top of each other in layers. And then what I did is, say I took this front image here and I tried to scale it up and down so that the tires would align and accessories like this piece up here would align and maybe the roof would align. So each of the images is about the same size as the others, even though they're different views. And then what I did is for each of these, I turned on the plain white background and then just went to File, Export, and I exported these out as JPEG images. And here they are here. So let me just cancel this. And if we go into that folder, I'll go into our resource files here, and I have a folder called Background Images. And this is where I've put those individual images. And these will be used within the 3D view of Blender itself. So let's go ahead and add these. Let's go back to Blender. And here in Blender, I think I'm just going to hit the A key and hit delete and delete everything in the scene. Now let's work on bringing in those background images. To do that, I'm going to press Shift A, and that will bring up the Add menu. And I'll come down here to Image and Background. And if I click this and add an image, let me show you what happens. It actually aligns to the camera that you're viewing it from. So let me load the, I'll load the side view here. And I'll click here. And if I tumble around, you can see that it's aligned to where my viewport was. And we don't want that. So let me just select it and hit delete. And what I want to do is actually go to the viewport through which I want to see that particular image. So I'm going to hit the 1 key on the numpad. And now when I place it here, it will be aligned to the X and the Z axes here. All right, so let's press Shift A, go to Image and Background, and let's bring in the front one here. So now we have this image in our front view. That's good, but what I also want to do is bring the wheels up so it's sitting on this X-axis as if that's the ground plane. I'm going to go ahead and change this name of the empty that we just brought in here and call it Front View. And right down here, this object data panel right here, I'm going to click on that, and we have some properties for our reference image. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is turn on the alpha so we can see that x-axis through the image. And then I'm going to click and drag on the Y field here on the Y-axis and just drag it up, straight up, so those wheels sit right on the x-axis, something like this. There we go. All right. Now notice that display perspective is turned off. So if I then tumble around here, you can see it's not in the perspective view. What I can do is I can turn that on for just a minute, and then I'm going to go to the move tool and just move this straight back. And maybe I'll hit the N key to open up the sidebar, and under item, maybe in the Y-axis I can type in 4 and hit enter, and that will put it 4 units in the Y-axis there. So there we have our first image in the viewport here. The next thing let's do is maybe hit the 3 key and go to the right orthographic view. Now what we want to do is press Shift A, go to Image and Background, and here let's bring in that side view. I'm going to click there, and there we go. So there's the side view in the right orthographic view. Let's go through the same process here. I'll turn on Use Alpha. I'll click and drag in the Y-axis and kind of drag this up so those wheels sit right on the Y-axis there. And you may be wondering why the Y-axis here is taking it up when the Y-axis here is going from left to right. Well, this is assuming that there's just 2 axes, that you have just an X and a Y field and no Z. So it assumes X and Y going up and down. All right, so now we've got, if we tumble around here, we've got our one image. What happened to the other one? Well, it's because display perspective is turned off. So I'll just turn that on for now. And ultimately, I'm going to have this off because I like to be able to model without any of the background images in the perspective view. But when I hit the 1 or the 3 key, then I'll be able to see them. But for now, as we're setting them up, I'm going to turn this on so I can see what I'm doing. So we can move this back in the x-axis, and even over here in the x, we can type -4 and hit enter, and that'll place that right there. All right, so we've got 2 of our images in. Let's now put the third one in the top view. We'll put it down here on the bottom. So to look down onto the grid, let's press the 7 key on the numpad. And from here, let's press Shift A, Image and Background, and we will choose that top view right here. And there we go. We tumble around once again. We can't see it. Let's turn it on. There we go. And this one will pull down in the Z-axis, kind of like this. And down here, we could type in maybe -1 in the Z. And there we go. All right, well, let's do one more. Let's do the back view. So if we're looking at the front view from this angle, we want to be able to look at the back view through here. We hit the 1 key to go to the front view. Let's hit the Control and 1 key to go to the back view. Now let's press Shift A, Empty, and Background, and let's bring in the back image. There we go. Once again, I'll turn on Use Alpha. Let's bring it up in the Y till those tires sit on the x-axis. There we go. And I'll turn on Display Perspective for now. And let's take this and move this way. And maybe let's type in -4 in the Y there. So there we have all of our images set up and ready to go. The last thing I'll do is just select them and turn off this display perspective over here. There we go. So now we don't see any of them. Now we can hit the 1 key and see the front view, the 3 key and see the side view, the 7 key and see the top view, and Control 1 and see the back view. All right. So in the next video, let's actually begin blocking in our vehicle.